tight grip on those devices because we can't stop for anything you may lose out of the vehicle. If you do lose something out of the vehicle, let me know by raising your hand, and I will then follow by raising mine, and we'll wave goodbye. Talk to these animals. Unfortunately, they're not your pets at home, so they're not going to be coming to the sound of your voice. You'll just scare them away. And we do want to see the best possible view of them as possible. Now, if you look over to the left, or on your right, you're going to see our friend that looks like a zebra. Now, the okapi isn't even related to the zebra. They're going to be related to the giraffe. We know this because of their skull shape and their prehensile. Oh wait, there's some right there too. It's a better view of them. Now they're identifiable by that yellow saddle on their bill. They got their name pretty on the nose, didn't they? If you look over on the left, you're going to see the black rhino poaching of their horns. Their horns are thought to be medicinal to us. However, we know that's not true because their horns are made out of the same material camouflage themselves to stay away from predators. Not seeing any movement. There's some. If you look over there on the right, you're going to see a Nile Hippo. Now the Nile Hippo is going to be spending most of its life underwater. Now this doesn't make them aquatic creatures, it just makes them very good swimmers. However, most of the time though, they will just be trotting along the bottom. If you didn't get a good view of the one, if you also look on the left, you're going to see that grayish white bird on the island. That's the pink-backed pelican. Now they get their name from the coloration that happens to... Yeah. Great job, everyone. Now first we're going to start off with that Ankoli cattle over here on the right. Our friend with those very large horns. Those horns are going to be about 4 to 6 feet long. Their blood is going to circulate through those horns, and they're going to take the excess heat and disperse it all the way to the tip. They're also nicknamed the Watusi cattle after the Watusi people that first domesticated them. They were never seen for meat or dairy by the Watusi people. They were seen more for currency. The more Watusi cattle you had, the wealthier you were. On the right, you're going to see the Hartman's mountain zebra. If you don't know which one that is, it's the black and white one here on the right. The Hartman's mountain zebra is going to have thinner hooves than the greater zebra, and that's going to help them climb the mountains. A group of zebra is called a Dazzle of Zebras. The animals here on the savannah, they're going to be using their speed to stay away from predators, unlike the forest where they use their camouflage. Looking out behind this bush, you're going to see the Sable Antelope. Now, the Sable Antelope is the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, and that's because they're very protective of their families, and we are very protective of ours here on the reserve. Now, they really don't have a fight or flight response, they just have a fight response, and they will fight anything up to a lion. Really anything that threatens their family. And that's the kind of action we want to have here at the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. We want to make sure that we are fighting for these animals as much as possible, making sure we are bringing awareness to the things that threaten them out in the wild, and also helping as much as we can. If you look over on the right, you're going to see that gray antelope. That gray antelope is the white-bearded wildebeest. Wildebeest means wild beast, and they'll be the most densely packed herd of all mammals besides one. Does anyone have any ideas as to what that one is? The most densely packed herd of all mammals? What was that? It's the human. I mean, just look at this truck, the year. Which brings me to the point of the savannah is going to act as a highway as these animals migrate through. Millions of animals are going to be migrating through the savannah throughout the year, and while they're here, they're going to tend to the savannah. The antelope, ooh, if you look up in the tree, you're going to see a giraffe up on top of that hill. So you're going to see these speeds of about 50 to 60 miles per hour. They can also spring 6 feet in the air and 13 feet forward. 6 feet in the air is going to be about up to the armrest on the truck, and 13 feet forward is going to be about half the length of this truck. On your right, you're going to see the Maasai giraffes. We know this is the Maasai giraffes because those patches are rough around the edges, and those patches are going to be as unique to them as our fingerprints are to us. Now, the one to the far right lying down, that is a baby Maasai giraffe. That baby Maasai giraffe is going to start out at about 6 feet tall. Now, that's probably taller than most people on this. My name's Devin. That Maasai. Now, the Maasai giraffe's tongue is going to have a mucus covering it. Now, this mucus is a bit gross, honestly, but it will act as a sunblock for their tongue. That way they don't get burnt while they are eating the leaves off trees. And if you look over to the right, I do believe our friend here is going to demonstrate for us. View if we go around these corners. However, on the left, you're going to see the mandrill over there. Well, ooh, turn, ooh. All right, our friend here did flap his ears, and that's going to help cool him off. We like to call it ear conditioning. But they also will be aggressive like those hornets. Now, the African elephant does live in a matriarchal society, which means it will be led by one much larger, more dominant female. And she's going to know all the best places to eat and drink, like that baobab tree to the right, and also coming up on the left. Now, the baobab tree is pretty cool, if I do say so myself, because it's used for 9 months out of the year. It's going to help conserve the water inside of them, because come drought season, the elephants are going to puncture the trunk of that tree. They're also going to eat the bark off of that tree, which gives it its second name. Greater flamingo is the lightest pink of all flamingo. They will start at a grayish color at birth, and through eating small brine shrimp and other water creatures high in beta carotene, they're going to get that pink. However, they're not going to be using those very large wings of theirs to fly. They're going to be using those very large wings during the day, unlike most big cats who are going to hunt at night. Now, that's because if they tried to hunt at night, those other big cats would be able to chase them away. And that way they can continue running and hunting. They do have those very long tails of theirs to help balance them while they are running at those high speeds. If you look over to the left, you're going to see that large rock formation. That is a kopie. Kopies are great places to find prides of lions, so be on the lookout.
Yeah.
Now, the bond box is going to be able to stand 5 minutes after birth. And you heard me right, that is a crash of light. I assume it's called a crash because they have very bad eyesight. They're only able to see about 3 feet in front of them. If you look over to the right, you're going to see another white rhino. Now, they don't look much different from the black rhino that we saw earlier on this trip. The biggest difference is that they will be bigger. They're going to be about 5,000 pounds compared to the black rhino's 3,000. If you're a wilderness explorer on board, I want to let you know that you're right. See the warthog? However, it's a bit rude to call this warthog Pumbaa because Pumbaa means foolish. And these warthogs are not foolish. They're going to dig those burrows with their tusks, hooves, and snouts. And this is going to help them. And they're going to back. Not lonely for the warden because the warden has some Nigerian dwarfs. Even though it is them playing, it also helps them. It will help them establish a fully matured. What's a group of giraffe or a scared group of giraffes called? A tower of terror. It's bad. It's a terrible joke. I understand, but it's funny sometimes. On this water. However, I do want to remind you that no matter where you live, you can always go outdoors. I highly suggest finding ways to help those natural habitats of theirs. One way that I do that is I reduce my use in single-use plastics. I now use all-natural bamboo toothbrushes and all-natural. That is the Disney Conservation Fund. Something awesome about that Disney Conservation Fund is for every dollar donated, Disney matches dollar for dollar. You can also go into any of the merch stores, round up to the nearest dollar. That also goes to the Disney Conservation Funds. Now, I don't say any of this to be like, donate to Disney, because that's not what I'm here for. That's not my job. My job is to tell you about the animals and ways to help those animals. And that's why I tell you about the Disney Conservation Fund, is because it is an actual way to help those animals, and it does go towards helping animals here on the reserve and also out in the wild. Now, when you do donate to the Disney Conservation Fund, you do get a button with this achievement of sorts. And this button does change in design every once in a while, so do come back on your next vacation and see if that button has changed. If you are already a Disney Conservation Fund, a conservation hero, I do want to thank you so much for doing that. The animals really appreciate it. If you're looking to see some more animals while you are on this trip, there are plenty around throughout the parks. However, there are also some very specific trails that you can go on. One trail is the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. On that trail, you'll get to see some gorillas and some naked mole rats. You can also go onto the Maharaja Trail over in Asia. If you want to learn more about that Disney Conservation Fund, the villagers in the village will be able to give you more information. However, it has come time for us to depart, which is my least favorite part because goodbye is just so sad and so final. But to say goodbye, we say Kwaharini. So Kwaharini, everyone. Go well, go wild, and go make a difference out there, friends. Watch your hands, arms.